Day one of OTAs is wrapped up for the New York Football Giants, and we got some major injury news to discuss about Daniel Jones. I'll give you my thoughts on the practice, who stood out, and my 5 takeaways from Giants OTA day number 1. Daniel Jones, though, he participated in 7-on-7. Will he be ready to go? I don't know. But this is why you subscribe to the channel. When we get injury news, when we get updates, rumors, no matter what it is, if it's about the New York Giants, we're going to get in the studio and get you guys a video. So if you want free, informative, entertaining, passion-driven content every day on Big Blue, hit that subscribe button right now and help us get to 50,000 subscribers. You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. Appreciate everybody for taking time out of their busy schedule to get caught up with us on everything surrounding the New York Giants. Daniel Jones was a participant in 7-on-7 non-contact drills, especially with the quarterback position, on day one of Giants OTAs. OTAs are organized team activities. That is really the phase 3 of the Giants offseason, and really the first time that the entire team comes together with the rookies and they start to get some on-field work. Giants OTA schedule is they will practice on May 20th. Already did that. They practice on May 21st, the 23rd, 28th, 29th, 31st, then a little bit of a break, and they come back and wrap it up in June with practices on the 3rd, 4th, 6th, and 7th. To kind of go into a little bit more depth of OTAs, Jordan Renan of ESPN, awesome insider and beat reporter, says that OTAs start today for the Giants. That's on May 20th. It's phase 3 of the offseason program. Still optional. It's not mandatory. That'll be mandatory minicamp around the corner. Teams can have a total of 10 practices over 4 weeks. They can run 7-on-7, 9-on-7, 11-on-11. No live contact allowed, and the doors open to the media for the first time on Thursday. So the way that we found out about this was Giants.com came out with an article about OTA Day 1. Dan Salomone wrote this, quote, quarterback Daniel Jones, who underwent surgery to repair a torn ACL on November 22nd, took the next step in his rehab and participated in 7-on-7 drills. He completed passes to wide receivers Wan'Dale Robinson and Malik Nabers, the 6th overall pick in the draft. The hope has been to have Jones as a full go for training camp in late July. And this is a great update for Daniel Jones and his rehab process as he tries to bounce back from that torn ACL. The fact that he's already participating in 7-on-7s and the hope is for him to be ready to be a full participant in July, it seems like to me he's on track to play week 1 and he will be the signal caller under center for the Giants against the Minnesota Vikings. That's great news. And that's great news. And something I just saw over the weekend, shout out to license plate guy, LPG, big time fan of him. And he's just one of the best Giants fans out there, most notable and known, and for good reason, LPG. He puts on an awesome softball game for charity. And this year, it was the Dexter Lawrence game. And after Daniel Jones was there, hit a little dinger, he was running around the bases with no knee brace. We saw him 2 weeks ago throwing at off-season workouts. No knee brace. I'm just going to look at that and say he's on the right track and he may be ready to go in week 1 as he does come back. So to kind of compare Daniel Jones and his timeline with other quarterbacks coming back from an ACL, we've shown this graphic a couple of times. This comes from Dan Duggan of The Athletic. Check him out, one of my favorite Giants beat reporters. Kyler Murray got hurt in week 14, didn't come back until week 10 the next year. Joe Burrow, week 11, he was ready to roll for the season opener. Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt in week 3. He wasn't ready to go until week 1. Deshaun Watson, same timeline as Daniel Jones, towards ACL in week 9, was ready to go in week 1. And then Carson Wentz, an extremely fast turnaround, got hurt in week 14 and was ready to go in week 3. Daniel Jones tore his ACL in week 9. Do you think he will be ready to go in week 1? Predict it for me in the chat. Does Daniel Jones play week 1 for the New York Giants against the Minnesota Vikings? I think he does. And I'm kind of changing my mind on that just from the information I am hearing. What do you think? Why for yes and for no? Coming up next, we got to talk about Malik Nabers, Dru Phillips, Theo Johnson, and a UDFA making plays at day one of Giants OTAs. That's around the corner, but first, I got to get you all hooked up with our proud sponsor, Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use that promo code CLNS, and Prize Picks, the #1 daily fantasy sports app, will match your first deposit up to $100. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. All you do is pick 2+ players, and you choose more or less on their stat line. PrizePicks.com/CLNS, promo code CLNS, and they'll match your first deposit up to $100. Put $100 in your account, they'll give you $100 for free. Pick more, pick less, play Prize Picks. Support the show, support the sponsor. Prize Picks has been sponsoring our show all season long, and we want to keep them here. So please play Prize Picks and support. Use our link. It's in the live comments, description, and chat of today's video. Alrighty, some OTA day one news and notes. The Giants mainly operated in 7-on-7s and 11-on-11s, and they were done in the red zone. And that is something that I'm glad, and that's something that the Giants have really done since Brian Daboll has taken over. They start their offseason workouts and really on-field work in the red zone. And that's a spot the Giants absolutely have to be better at in 2024. We'll talk about that in a second. But Devin Singletary, new running back Devin Singletary, scored the first touchdown in 7-on-7s. It was a pass. It was a catch and run. So good to see him being involved. He's more of a runner than a pass catcher. He's done that before, but good to see Singletary get involved and score that first TD for him. I'm expecting a big year from Motor. I wanted to say Turbo for some reason because of Dante Turbo Miller, but Motor. You got Motor, you got Turbo. Love that. But I do like the Giants consistently start their offseason on-field work together while working in the red zone. One of the main reasons the Giants were a winning football team in 2022 was their complementary football, taking advantage of opportunities. The Giants scored touchdowns in 2022 on 64.8% of their red zone trips. That's a 5th best in the National Football League. You got to get 6 when you're inside the 20. If you get 3s, you're going to lose. And Giants did a whole lot of losing. They did a whole lot of getting 3s in the red zone last year. They go from 64.8 of a red zone touchdown percentage to 29.4. They couldn't get the job done in the red zone last year. They're going to need to be much better than 30th if they want to compete in the NFC East. UDFA Alex Johnson, the nickel corner out of UCLA, had the first interception of OTAs. Unfortunately, I don't know who it was on. Giants.com did not put who threw that interception. They are so awesome when it comes to that stuff. But so I unfortunately do not know who threw it. I would suspect, though, it was either Locke or DeVito, considering they were going up against the third-string UDFAs. But maybe it was Daniel Jones. I just do not have that answer for you. But good to see him get some work early on. He had a really good career. He had a really good career at UCLA. He was actually graded out really nicely by Pro Football Focus, had a lot of success in the slot, and that's a spot where he could maybe find himself on this roster. You look at the cornerback depth chart. I don't have him featured. I don't have any of the UDFAs featured on this depth chart. They got to make the team before you get on my depth charts. But with Deontay Banks, Nick McLeod, Cordell Flott, Trey Hawkins, David Long Jr., Andrew Phillips, and Darnay Holmes, those are really the only guys I have as shoo-ins for this roster, and a question mark around Holmes. If Johnson has a great spring and summer and plays good in the preseason, yeah, I could see him being a backup slot corner for this team. I also heard that Malik Nabers was very productive in the limited amount of action that he saw. Giants continue to hold him back just a little bit, which is smart. You don't need to empty in the tank at day one of OTAs, but Dan Salomone said this about Malik Nabers. Nabers, LSU's all-time leader in receptions and receiving yards, had a productive first OTA and hauled in a handful of passes during 7-on-7 and 11-on-11 work. The latter came off the arm of Drew Lock, who was added this offseason. Drew Lock's a smart man. Get the ball to Malik Nabers and watch him cook. Good to see Nabers get active early on in OTAs and him starting to find that chemistry with Drew Lock. From Drew Lock to Dru Phillips. Andrew Phillips, the slot corner from Kentucky, 3rd-round pick. Suppose we had a nice PBU in 7-on-7s. And right now, to be honest with you, my way too early prediction is Dru Phillips is going to be the starting slot corner for this football team. We saw immediately after the NFL draft, Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen refer to Phillips as a slot corner. And then Daboll, I think it was at rookie minicamp, said that slot corner is a priority position for him. They used a third-round pick on Phillips to play the slot. At the time, they used a third-round pick on Cordell Flott to play the slot. Early prediction from Marsh, Dru Phillips will be the starting slot corner for this team. Takeaway number 5 is Theo Johnson was able to haul in a reception at OTAs, and I am really all in. Theo Johnson is my sleeper from this class, and maybe I'm a part of the majority in that department, but I think we're going to look back, whether it's a year from now, whether it's 2 years from now, and say the Giants may have got the steal of the draft in Theo Johnson. I think he was underutilized at Penn State. I don't think they put him in position to where he could execute and use his talents to the best of his ability. I'm expecting Theo Johnson to be a big-time player in this league. Extremely athletic guy, large catch radius, nice soft hands, and I think he's going to be a red zone monster at 6'6" plus. I'm ready for Giants football, man. I am. If you're ready, hit that thumbs up icon. 16 more Sundays till we're back rooting on Big Blue. Make sure you are following me on social media. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram at @MarshallGreen_. If you could, please hit me up over there, and let's go G-Men.